This redistricting does have to happen at some point. Yet here we are once again on another situation where our administration did not communicate to neither our parents and especially not to our students in a timely manner. And I'm sorry to everybody within earshot that our administration did not give you, the people, what I would consider an appropriate amount of time to prepare for a transition of this magnitude.
I just want to make a couple of comments, only because I know that the board is about to make a decision and a vote. And I feel like I have to for our staff. A comment was made, and at first I said, well, I don't need to comment. But as I've thought about it, you know, a comment was made that once again, as in is a pattern that our administration does not communicate in a timely manner or in an effective manner. So I guess if that is a perception, then I would ask that the board and anyone else that's listening not blame the staff for that, just blame the superintendent. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I stood with my staff and my colleagues at information hearings 4 hours to directly address concerns that folks had, and knowing that in many cases there are no right answers. I want to thank them, and I mean everyone, including many community members who have been understanding about the complexity of this process. But I also want to remind the board that as we determined that we would tackle this particular project internally, that was a decision that I made, understanding that we have limited staff in doing this on our own, but we did. And in doing it, each step of the way, we brought to the board exactly where we were in the process. And on February the 25th, I believe the board knew that we were at a point that we would then begin to communicate with our families and our community, because we could not have communicated with any clarity when there were no options developed. I think obviously in hindsight, and as we go through processes, we would all like to do them earlier. I'd love to go back a couple of months ago and know that we had that, but that wasn't where we were. So on the 25th, if it was a concern that we were just going to be notifying folks that we were considering these options, then a decision could have been made to not engage our public in 4 information sessions that we prepared for, and that we have continued to engage the public since then. But I do always strive to guide our staff in being better with communication each and every day. And I'm sure as we reflect on this particular process, we would always go back and say, well, maybe we could have done something better, something different. But when it was a wholesale generalization, that once again, I'll take that as superintendent, but I just want to make sure that folks do not defer that kind of generalized criticism on the entire staff that I have the pleasure and honor to work with. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. And before we call for the vote, I want to echo your comments. I appreciate the fact that whatever goes right or wrong in this organization, you've always stood up to accept responsibility, and I admire you for that. Just like I want to own the vote that I take on this particular matter, and I'm not going to pass disparagement on staff or anyone else for the decision that I have to make. It is not my desire to ever take you out in front and throw you under the bus, and I just want you to know that. You and I have had some good lunches where they were good fighting lunches, but we honored each other by hearing each other out, and then at the same time leaving with a desire to work together. So I honor you and I appreciate what you just said, and I have a great deal of respect for you, as I believe most of this board does.